Diddy has just had a nervous breakdown after being attacked in prison and is allegedly being targeted because of the dirt he has on others. There are reports that powerful people in Hollywood and the music industry are trying to silence Diddy because they're scared of what he might say.
According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, "Spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him." If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, "He eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it." This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on suicide watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's suicide watch was only temporary, though. He was housed in a special protective unit of the jail after that for the first few weeks of his stay. But Diddy right now is in Gen Pop, meaning general population, the place where majority of the inmates stay. And that's where he apparently had this meltdown over the holidays, at least according to one source.
After Jay-Z, Jennifer Lopez has been named as a witness and co-conspirator in the case against Diddy, and a new lawsuit has been filed that alleges that J-Lo was involved in the cover-up of a case. The victim claims that J-Lo knew about Diddy's crimes, and Diddy even showed her his tapes back when the two dated in the late 90s. Once this case goes to trial, J-Lo will have to testify against Diddy, and who knows what she might say.
But going back to Cardella Smith's filing, his notice says that Jennifer Lynn Lopez, aka J-Lo, aka Jenny from the Block, quote, will be called as a material witness and expert to Sean Combs' viewing, possession, and distribution of his sexual assault upon the plaintiff in 1997 and the orders of defendant Sean Combs forcing Jennifer Lopez to remain silent about the videotaped sexual assault of plaintiff by defendant. Plaintiff states that the material witness Jennifer Lynn Lopez, also known as J-Lo and Jenny from the Block, was engaged in a relationship with the defendant Sean Combs during 1999 and 2001, and that the sexual assault of the plaintiff was recorded, distributed, and held by the defendant at his New York residence and recording studio. And during the relationship with Jennifer Lopez, she was made privy to this video that was taken by Sean Combs and his employee Kirk Burrows. She, J-Lo, has known this video existed and was in existence and took no action to make it known to anyone in law enforcement, and that she was even questioned by New York Police Detective Derek Palmer about this matter, and that the report will show that her answers to this tape was and still remains a resounding yes to its existence.
With millionaires and billionaires like J-Lo, Jay-Z, and Beyonce now involved with Diddy, other more powerful figures are worried about how this case might affect them. These people are the same ones that'll to Epstein dying before he could say anything. And now rumors are starting that Diddy might be suicidal too. Is it really just a coincidence that the second other people start coming up in connection to Diddy, Diddy starts getting attacked in prison and is allegedly having a nervous breakdown?
And again, Cardella Smith writes that he wants to call Officer Derek Palmer as a witness because he says Palmer is the one who questioned Lopez and believes that he will have testimony that could help his case. Now, as I mentioned, Diddy's legal team has called for this entire case to be thrown out. Cardella Smith has filed a massive response to that request that totaled more than 200 pages. Probably half of it was just straight up copies of case law that seems to support his arguments, word for word. It's something out of like a legal textbook. There's so much to slog through, but I kind of want to give you some of the highlights. So first, in addition to the claims of rape and a cover-up, Cardella Smith also claims and alleges that Combs was violent towards his loved ones. At times, Cardella Smith addresses alleged threats against his family. Other times, he says Combs actually caused serious injuries to his brother. His response reads, defendant used threats of murder to force the plaintiff to not bring the case to any court of law enforcement until the homes of the defendant were raided by Homeland Security, that the plaintiff knew it was a safe time to bring the case, and that is why we are here at this juncture. And Cardella Smith argued that fear for his own safety and the safety of his family is one of the main reasons that he waited so long to report the alleged rape, and says that that reason alone should override any issue with the statute of limitations, that these claims might be otherwise be time barred. And he also argues that while he's been in prison, fellow inmates and prison guards have threatened him on behalf of Sean Combs.
Yeah, that makes sense. But you knowing Diddy personally, do you think it's possible he might take his life? It takes a certain individual to prepare himself to do a lot of years in jail. From the lifestyle that he had, I'm not saying that he can't. I just don't see him able to do time behind bars. Maybe if he be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit suicide. He'd do an Epstein.
Why do you think he didn't pull a Russell Simmons and leave the country?
They was watching him, bro. They was watching him. And then I think that he had to turn over his passport. Even if you own your own private jet, they have a system up there whereas that they supposed to check your passport and anything that you need to fly as if you were flying commercial.
Diddy knows that his life isn't safe in prison, and if the people he was working with start to think that he's cooperating with the feds, they might come after him. Diddy's team offered to pay over $50 million and even offered Diddy's passport to the court so he could get bail, but the judge said no. According to the judge, Diddy has a history of threatening victims, and if he is allowed to go outside, there's a big chance that he might hurt the witnesses.
The proposed bail package. A $50 million bond, co-signed by him, his mom, and his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. It's going to be secured by the equity in his property in Miami, Florida. Home detention, his passport will be surrendered. The government said that's insufficient. They said, look at the charges, look at the weight of the evidence that I just mentioned. They said they have allegations that he and his associates were trying to tamper with witness testimony last year so that they wouldn't cooperate with the government. What do you take away about who has the stronger argument in terms of bail?
Well, I think his counsel has done the best they possibly can. I think bringing him there voluntarily is very smart, starts them out on the right foot. But I think the last thing that you just mentioned, the interfering with witnesses.
That's the allegation, yeah.
Yeah, if that's true, or I should say, if there's real indicia that happened, I think that might tip the scales in favor of not letting him out pending trial, because I think, and you know this, I think judges take an extraordinarily dim view of that, and that might be the factor that tips the scale against him. But I think as far as a tactic, I think it was very smart to do what they did and to say, look, you know, he's here. You didn't have to track him down. He's got a real defense here. He's doing everything right, at least right now. I'm not sure it's going to be enough at the end of the day.
Diddy's attorney, Mark Anapo, has already said in a press conference that they're going to try for bail again. He even hinted at the fact that this jail isn't safe for Diddy and that Diddy should be placed under house arrest. There's also the fact that Diddy is allegedly a P, and Ps don't last long in jail. Even now, Diddy isn't in Gen P, but instead has been placed in solitary so he can stay safe.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready, he's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer.
There are sources close to Diddy who think that he is about to get bail soon. Diddy is pulling all the strings he can, and let's not forget that Diddy is best friends with Eric Adams, the mayor of New York. Just a month before his arrest, Diddy was given the key to the city. It's impossible that Mayor Adams didn't know about the investigation against Diddy, but he still gave him the key to rehabilitate his image.
The prosecutor presented that the judge was going to allow him to be bonded out on the first get-go. Now, if he comes up with some more hearings, he might be released. But based on the evidence, they've been following him, bro. They've been tapping his phone, been having people watch him. You understand? He been coming back and forth from New York, and he don't usually be coming back to New York. And somebody was telling me that, yo, listen here, yo, he trying to get witnesses. Remember when they released that first thing of Cassie, and I said that Diddy was trying to contact people for character witnesses, people for who he had problems with before, whatever like that, and trying to talk to them in the whole 9 yards. That's when they dropped that thing with Cassie. The Homeland Security had some agency or whatever like that that deals with that, dropped that thing on Cassie to show everybody, oh, y'all want to help him? Y'all, this is what y'all want to help? This is who y'all want to, say that he ain't never did nothing. This is what you want to put your brand on? And everybody started backing up from him. Everybody was talking about, yo, man, Cassie was a gold digger. Cassie was this, that, and the third. She loved it in the whole 9 yards. And then when they seen that, all his friends or so-called friends, went away. So him not having a bond is not surprising.
Yeah, and he offered them $50 million, and they still denied his bond.
He should have waited to see what they was going to offer. Because if he got $50 million to get him and offer that, then they think like, yo, that's too little of a money.
All of this is part of a much bigger conspiracy. And according to Gan Deal, Diddy isn't even the main person that the FBI wants. Allegedly, the feds are using Diddy to get access to other, more powerful criminals. And Diddy is just a pawn in all of this. Criminals in situations similar to what Diddy is, in situations similar to what Diddy is in, have gotten bail. But Diddy's bail has been denied 3 times so far, and now they're making it look like Diddy is scared and ready to testify. All of this is a ploy to catch a bigger, more powerful fish.
He might get bail. Now you're wondering why I'm saying that. See, they are trying to use some of the things that happen to criminals all the time, or inmates all the time. They always, brother, they always do those impromptu searches. And in one of the cases, in this particular case, they said that when they did the impromptu search, they took some of his legal information, and the judge ordered them to give that back. So I guess the lawyers are going to come up with a couple of new things saying that he can't properly, have his case be properly, what do you call it when they client get they client and lawyer privileges. He can't properly do his case with, you understand, with them constantly going into jail cells, searching him, taking his legal briefs, taking his information, and then probably using this against him. But I don't believe none of that to be true. I believe that they went in there just like they do all the other inmates based on the information they had. You got to realize this, bro. They found out that Diddy was using other inmates' phone cards. Now that probably happens all the time. You understand? And he got to be probably the smartest, dumbest person that I know, because he got to know that those phone calls are being taped. So whatever his lawyers and them come up with, the prosecution's gonna come up with something else. So the judge is gonna wanna know, well, what did they do, when they found out he was in violations of some of this stuff that he was doing? Did they charge him with something new? Did they take some of his privileges away? What has happened in the interim of him doing this stuff that they alleged that he done? So it's gonna be a whole forestry of next week, because what they did was they held off whatever the procedures was gonna go down today. The judge say he gonna revisit this next week. So I guess, I don't know if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll find out what's going on, but it's gonna be something that I think it may shock the world.
In a recent episode of the PBD podcast, Fox News host Jesse Waters revealed that Fox News had received intel that Diddy was being prepared to take the fall. It's important to remember that Diddy was connected to some of the biggest people in the country. All of these people are going to go to jail if Diddy says something.
They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant. Whoa. So he was a snitch and was feeding information to the feds. And we don't know what that means. We haven't been able to confirm it, but even Little Rod said it's not just like Epstein. It could be worse than Jeffrey Epstein.
Diddy is back on watch due to the threats on his life, and it's only a matter of time now before something big happens. A few months ago, Diddy was paying other inmates to do his chores, and now he's crying because they're attacking him. It doesn't make sense.
So breaking news right now, Larry, I am just getting word. People magazine says it's got a source on the inside that tells them that P. Diddy's on suicide watch tonight. Do your sources confer the same information? Are they saying it was possible?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest. When they called his bond hearing, now they checked him into the system, and reality has hit him. And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on suicide watch. Another error that I guess some warden told you this. There are sentenced inmates there. They're called cadre inmates. They don't have to be white collar inmates, but they're doing maintenance on the building. And the problem why there's a lot of violence there, they have housing units. And they're mixing bank robbers, drug dealers, rapists with white collar people. And this is why Diddy, he can't go into a regular housing unit because somebody will take him out for sure. Somebody's gonna get a lot of street credibility out of this. People that are doing substantial time that know they're never getting out. They'll just kill a guy, no questions asked.
You think that they'd suck up to him because he's got a lot of money, and if he ever does get the commissary options, he would be able to help them.
Some people do because
I got to wrap it real quick.
Okay, some people do think that Diddy can help them, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week, 6 Marshals to do it. He's out of luck.
The feds have everything they need to charge Diddy. They confiscated video evidence of his crimes when they raided his mansion, and victims are now also starting to come out and testify against him. Attorney Ariel Mitchell's kid is one of the attorneys, representing clients against Diddy. During a media appearance, she indicated that she had been informed about the existence of these tapes, and even been offered the opportunity to buy one of these tapes. These tapes reportedly include footage of A-list celebrities engaging in intimate acts with drugged minors at Diddy's parties.
Is your client fearful if Diddy does get out?
As you know, I represent other clients, actual victims who have sued Mr. Combs, Diddy, in civil court, and all of them are very apprehensive about their safety if he were to be granted bond. I am confident in the court. I am sure that the court will remain with their previous decision of no bond. I feel like the judge only gave this let me think about it just to not make it as obvious. But I have all the confidence in the world and the federal court and the state of New York that they will remain keeping Diddy under no bond, and that all of the victims in this case will be able to proceed sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I mean, you don't just represent this man, you represent other alleged victims too and people involved. Have there been any threats made against any of your clients?
There have been threats from people on the internet, but not from, at least what we don't know, from Diddy to be directly. So my clients have, Mr. Burgess has received several death threats. My client, Mrs. Parham, has been receiving threats, but we don't know if they're just regular people from the internet or if they're actually people who were sent by Diddy.
Do you have any idea where the threats are coming from? I mean, have you done any investigation?
Well, most of the investigation leads us to a lot of burner accounts on Instagram, and we're trying to now sift through possibly working with law enforcement to try to get subpoenas to determine the IP addresses of where those threats were emanating.
So, okay, interesting. We know that the cease and desist letter has now come. Has there been any other pressure of any kind that you or your clients have felt to stop talking?
In general, I feel that the gag order, when we talk about that, Mark Agnifilio wrote about me specifically, and also all of the other plaintiffs in the civil lawsuits to try to have all of us gagged. There's pressure every day that us continuing to talk about this is putting not only our lives in jeopardy, but could be potentially used against us in a gag order.
Several of Diddy's victims have also come forward. One of these victims, Thea Graves, who filed a federal lawsuit on September 24, 2024, against Shaw Diddy and his former bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, alleges that in 2001 at Bad Boy Records studio in New York City, she was drugged and sexually assaulted by the two. 2 other victims have also come forward, and they tell the same horrific story.
The latest woman to speak out against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is from Harris County.
Yeah, our Reka Mudaraj is here with more on the lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Reka?
Len and Mia, these are the latest accusations against Sean Combs, and it comes about a week after Combs was indicted on federal charges alleging he used his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Now, yesterday, high-powered attorney Gloria Allred appeared with her client. This is Talia Graves, a Harris County resident who filed a lawsuit against Combs in New York. We are using her name because she has gone public with her claims. Now, in the lawsuit, Graves alleges back in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security lured her into a meeting at a New York City recording studio where they gave her a drink that caused her to briefly lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves says she was bound and restrained and was violently raped by Combs. The lawsuit filed Tuesday also claims the alleged assault was recorded and that the video was shown to multiple other men. Graves says she also faced multiple threats that made her stay silent for decades.
The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
54-year-old Combs is in jail facing federal charges, including sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail twice after pleading not guilty. Also, Combs' head of security, Joseph Smith, known as Big Joe, told the Daily Mail that he doesn't know Graves, calling her allegations just a, quote, money grab.
Speak out against music mogul Diddy. HMees is from Harris County. Yeah, our Rake Mutagi is here with more on the lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Reka Letton Mia. These are the latest accusations against Combs, and it comes about a week after Combs was indicted on federal charges alleging hosed his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Now yesterday, high-powered attorney Gloria Allett appeared with her client. This is Talia Graves, a Harris County resident who filed a lawsuit against Comasine, New York. We are using her name because she has gone public with her claims now in the lawsuit. Graves alleges that back in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security lured her into a meeting at a New York City recording studio where they gave her a drink that caused her to briefly lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves says she was bound and restrained and was violently raped by Combs. The lawsuit filed Tuesday also claims the alleged assault was recorded and that the video was shown to multiple other men. Graves says she also faced multiple threats that made her stay silent for decades.
And I want to start with Tania Wallace, who claims she's been at a freak off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was that she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince. And they ended up eventually on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says, you know, among many other things, I mean, she goes into detail. This, she says, happened in 2018. She says that she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people. And they were dressed up as Japanese Barbies. I forgot the name. It's Harak something. You can help me out here. It's a certain type of Barbie. Anyway.
I know the name, but I've forgotten it. But go ahead.
So she explained that that they were just clustered around these little people. And I kept pushing her. And she eventually said, look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party. And I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors. Now, she didn't see anything specific that was going on with them other than that adults were kind of huddled around them. But she told just a wild story about what was going on at the house, even at 7 a.m, that this thing apparently raged all night long.
You know, it's amazing. TMZ always gets such great scoops, and this one might be one of your best as well. You got a hold of one of the Freak Off tapes. Your producers have seen it. The description is, and I'll quote, it's porn directed by Diddy himself. And a male sex worker really sort of walks through what happened in the experiences that he had. They didn't sound illegal, but they sure seem to comport with a lot of the other stories that have been told.
Yeah. So this was a threesome. What you would ask me about earlier about Tania Wallace, she said there were more than 100 people at that party, including at least 4 celebrities. But this, what you're talking about now, was a threesome, and that's something that the U.S. attorney even referenced, and his lawyer in an earlier documentary we did. He was describing threesomes. He says it was all consensual. So yes, what we're told is that this male sex worker was flown out to various locations over a couple of years: Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and one other. And they would meet in hotel rooms, and Diddy would often watch as he would have sex with this woman who was associated with Diddy. So that seems to be what the feds are looking at right now in terms of alleged sex trafficking, if they are transporting somebody and perhaps paying them to cross state lines, that could end up being part of sex trafficking. We know that this guy got a subpoena and he ended up not testifying before the grand jury, but talking to prosecutors. And we're told that he left that tape with them.